masculinity. It's a topic that sparks endless debate. Some traits are labeled as toxic masculinity, but are they really? Or are they just part of being a guy? Today, we're diving into a Reddit discussion where people break down which so-called toxic behaviors are actually just natural feelings of a man. What are things that are considered toxic masculinity but are actually just how guys are?
When I had worked in a group home, there was a lead therapist who developed lessons/workshops for me to help teach the troubled adolescent boys. One thing she said is to not use the term toxic masculinity. That young minds will perceive this as them being bad and not toxic merely for being male. Not only this, but that there were male characteristics that weren't necessarily bad, but could be depending on how one behaves with those characteristics.
I was at a party in Northampton, Massachusetts, which is a very liberal town. The discussion was how rednecks, among other gun owners, with their guns are a bunch of toxic men who try and overcompensate, blah, 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 with the guns. The conversation was being led by a man. This same man later in the party came up to me and said, I was looking around at everyone at the party seeing who I think I could beat up, and I think I could take everyone easily, but might have some trouble with you. The ways toxic masculinity present itself are not always in a certain tradition or political sphere.
It's very hard to address correctly the damage toxic males are causing. It's very easy to generalize their actions and accuse men in general. Hence, by sheer laziness, men at large are often caught in the crossfire of the fight against toxic masculinity. I doubt this will be resolved anytime soon. We humans are lazy
A lot of guys playfully jest and banter with each other in a way that could seem mean-spirited, but they are just ball-busting.
My best friend and I are ruthless to each other, but we also know it's not serious and still have each other's back 110%.
I remember in college, a platonic female friend of mine came over to my house to pregame before a party. My boys and I were playing Smash Brothers in the living room, drinking, and talking shit to each other like usual. My friend, who was very much a tomboy/guys-girl type of chick, was shocked by our banter and pulled me aside later that night to ask if everything was okay. I just looked at her confused and was like, what are you talking about? She honestly thought she had walked in on some kind of serious blow-up within my friend group based on all the loud shit-talking she witnessed. I was like, nope, this is just close friends busting each other's balls over video games. Pretty typical evening in a house full of young dudes. If anything, we were toning it down a little because you're here. My guy, you can't just say that and not tell us how she reacted. How did she take it?
From behind?
Yeah, boy.
No dude, not your mom, the girl from the story.
Damn!
Explaining things to help people.
People confuse enthusiastic desire to share knowledge with being arrogant and patronizing all the time.
I think the best exhibition of this is the favorite dinosaur question. Every little boy, and lots of little girls, has a favorite dinosaur, and somewhere along the way we lose that joy and excitement. So when we get the chance to talk about something we know, we're chasing that feeling. Of course the tools take it off the deep end when they assume they're the only ones who can know, etc. And obviously the important part of this is that the Stegosaurus should be your favorite.
Guys also mansplain to other guys. Like, yeah dude, I am the one who told you that info last week. It is kind of a thing that makes us feel useful. For a lot of us, our baseline is assuming people think we are dumb, so we go out of our way to disprove that whenever we can.
For whatever reason, people have a problem with boys having their own spaces, and not girls. No, I'm not talking about the Man-Woman Haters Club. But even things like Boy Scouts aren't able to have boy-only spaces, whereas girls can. Having taught, I can say there are definitely benefits to not having girls around, and there are also drawbacks. But people seem to be willing to accept that girl spaces are good to have. Hell, even as adults. Getting together with just the guys, or boys' nights, has a different connotation than girls grabbing brunch or doing a book club. But they are both serving the same purpose. But having male spaces isn't inherently toxic, even though it's treated that way.
Yeah, my friend group is like that Oswell. When I want to do a boys only thing they instantly say, then we sew a girls only thing with a bad voice, and I'm like, yeah, nobody ever stopped you from doing it. Yeah, they still haven't done a girls only thing after 8 years. Laughing my freaking bun off.
LOL, even gay bars have this problem.
Jumping into help can be seen as mansplaining or thinking the other person is incapable. I'm a woman, but I've worked with men and had partners who would try to do things for me that I was actively working on, and I used to get offended by this because I thought they thought I was incapable. In reality, they just want to help. Men love getting shit done, and if they have the opportunity to help, they often don't wait to ask. I also notice men will mansplain about things that they're simply passionate about. Regardless of if you already know a lot about it, they just like expressing that they know a lot about something. I'm trying to be better about communicating to the men in my life that I prefer to do things on my own, and they often take it well if you actually just communicate how you feel.
Yeah, we do it for each other too. We don't even have to know you.
This isn't exactly it, but I'll bring it up anyway. The way boys and girls play is different. Yes, some of it is socialized, and some is just how they are. But schools are designed to really portray how boys play versus girls is wrong. Boys tend to be a bit more aggressive. They also get just as much fun out of breaking stuff, like a Lego tower, as building it. But when boys do that, they are often shamed for it. I was a male teacher and I let a lot of stuff boys did go because I understood that they weren't being bad, just it was different than the girls. And I tended to overall have better behavior from boys who were labeled bad by previous teachers. They also were, unsurprisingly, less disrespectful to me in class.